Welcome to Knicks Home Court with your host. My name is Greg Armstrong. This is episode number 85, New Year's Eve edition. I know I've been away for a few days. I've been super busy during this time. It's so funny that I've been busy during the time that they had the 3 losses. So I do podcasts after losses. However, I just was busy this time. And I had so much to say. Now I don't have as much to say as far as that. Except for, look, tomorrow is January, right? The Knicks are a 500 team as we speak. They won yesterday. They beat New Orleans. It was impressive. Any victory at this point on the road is impressive. They're 18-18 going into the new year. Nobody expected that. So let's just take time to just digest that. This is happening with Tim Hardaway Jr. has been out now. Not a little bit of games now. It's been a lot of games. A few games, more than a few. Kristaps has missed more than a few games. Kanter has missed a few games. Now, Lakina has missed a few, and he's still learning. Yet, this team is still 500. If they continue on the pace, of 500 play, they will have 41 wins, which I guarantee you that's going to be enough to make the playoffs. Now, of course, we want them to be better than 500, obviously. But coming from where they were last year to where they are now, I don't think it's comparable. The chemistry is so much better, which, again, I want to take a second to talk about Enes Kanter. And I want to get into a little bit of year-end grades and what I want for the new year, right? But let's just talk about Enes Kanter. I saw this article the other day. This is what I'm saying. When people get into analytics and they go too far and they ignore what their eyes are telling them because they need numbers to actually explain things to them. Look, I'm a believer in analytics. You'll be a fool not to be. Analytics are just basically a lot of times what you see on paper. However, analytics will miss things. It will miss things. There's a thing in math called variables. Analytics doesn't really cover variables. Now, they do adjusted this and adjust for that and adjust for that. They try. Basically, what analytics tries to duplicate is the human eye with numbers. In other words, they're trying to tell you everything you see, but with a number. This is what you're seeing over here, and according to this number and that number. And the reason why I mention that is because this guy tried to I won't mention his name. Actually, I don't remember his name. And it's not a bad writer. It's just I thought he was reaching. He tried to say that with all of the good numbers with Kanter, there's certain, not all the numbers are good. Some of the numbers are bad and things like that. So I'm thinking, okay, he's going to say that Kanter doesn't really play defense. Kanter's not really a good defender. He tries, but he's not really a good defender. That's what he's going to say, right? So I read, I'm reading the article. And again, as I went through all of the little, oh God, you know what? All right, I'll get into that. I had to go through, I read everything. And basically what they were saying is that Kanter's defense isn't great. And basically, and then there was a point in the article when it said that the Knicks are worse with Kanter on the floor without Kristaps Porzingis, right? And they're better with Kristaps on the floor without Kanter, right? But let me just start with that part. Anybody who says they're from the analytics community or who's trying to analyze and says stupid things like that, I'm letting you know, you got to call them out. Saying that anything on the Knicks is worse without Kristaps is like saying Golden State is worse without Steph Curry. Their shooting isn't as good. You see, without Steph Curry, obviously, without Kristaps, because first of all, Kanter is a rebounder. He's not a rim defender, which Kristaps is, and Kristaps is your best player. So the whole team is probably not going to look good without their best player. They've tried to hold it up. They're even missing Hardaway. So I used to hear this argument a lot when it came to Eli Manning. Oh, he's not great. He's not a Hall of Famer. This and that. Take away the 2 Super Bowls, and he's just ordinary. And I'm like, okay, take away the 6 rings from Michael Jordan, and he's ordinary too. While we're at it, let's take 5 from Magic. And while we're at it, let's take Joe Montana's 4 rings. And you know what? Let's take the Patriots rings away too. It's just the dumbest fucking thing I've ever heard people say. If you take away the best part of something, or let's forget about that. I can't stand that. So I just wanted to say that and put that rant on this podcast for the end of this year, because I hate my ears. I mean, I cringe when I hear stupid stuff. And Knicks Home Court podcast listeners, I do this podcast because I will not bullshit you. I will not throw stupid shit at you. I want the people listening to this podcast, the people making comments, I like intelligent commentary, not stupid shit. Okay? This is not clickbait. I don't have to do clickbait. I'm not getting paid for this. I do this for fun. I do this because I wanted a community. I wanted to somehow be a part of a community of smart Knick fans, not stupid fuckers and not overly emotional fuckers who go crazy after every game. I can't do that either. So I just wanted to point that out, because one thing he's missing about Enes Kanter, you see, there's no stat for the locker room. There's no stat for a great teammate. There's no stat for that. Tell me the stat for a great teammate. I already pointed out in earlier podcasts how Indiana was a really good team on the come up. Danny Granger got hurt. He still was with the team trying to make his way back. He couldn't get back. He was trying to make his way back. And they ended up, when he finally started to get a little healthy, they traded him. Now, I'm not saying they shouldn't trade him. Hey, if you could trade him and get something for him, Danny Granger was injured. He was damaged goods. However, they underestimated his locker room presence. And after they traded him, Indiana went through a tailspin, started losing all type of games. Because you know why? You traded their big brother away. People think that can't be, maybe you can't put that in the analytics folder, but people need to get along, man. People need to have teammates that they can count on, who's there for them when they stress. See, this is what people don't understand. There's another side of the game. It's called the human side. It's not going to be on your analytics. It's not going to be there. That's why you hear so many players, Clyde Frazier's always talking about Willis Reed, even though, truth be told, Clyde Frazier really was the best player on that team. Go look at the numbers. But Willis Reed was his big brother. When Willis Reed came out there that time and walked out there on a bum leg, tell me what analytics can tell me about that shit. That legendary moment in Knicks history. Tell me what analytics can talk about on that. What can we put that on there? You know, how could you quantify that? That leadership he showed coming on the court. He scored 1 bucket. But what did Clyde always say? He said, man, that gave us the most confidence. And they went out there and did their thing. When you have a teammate like that, that's not, see, this is when the analytics crowd missed that. And you know why? I hate to say this, no disrespect to the analytic crowd. I'm one of them, and I'm a nerd as well. But I'm also a sociable nerd. In other words, I get out and get around people and build and talk and get into things and see if my ideas are right. Maybe they're wrong, and speak with other intelligent people far more intelligent than myself. That's how I learn. But you got these people, they're so snobby, these damn analytics people. You tell somebody, oh, he's averaging 30 points and 12 rebounds. Oh, that's just counting stats. All stats, accounting stats. The fuck are you talking about? It's all math. It's all sums and minuses. What the fuck are you talking about? Anyway, I just like I said, I read something, and you're gonna have people who it's so funny in Knick land, right? You have people who are super negative, but they love the team. You have people super positive and they love the team, and then you have the people who like to throw cold water on you, and I don't know what they love. Mainly the reporters. They like to throw cold water on shit. When the Knicks are doing well, don't get too happy. Why not? Why not? I don't give a fuck. I can get as happy as hell and know that this is just one game. Yes, I can get ecstatic like we won the damn championship for one game. As long as I'm not dumb. I know it's only one game. I don't need cold water thrown on me like, well, Knicks fans, like we little children and shit. The problem is with the mainstream media, honestly, they getting crushed by the independent media. That's why they are super strong with clickbait and bullshit and putting out articles. I mean, weak articles. People are respected. Weak podcasts, weak. And it's because of people like me and other people who have independent podcasts who out here speaking the real, speaking the truth, who's looking at the numbers, who's watching the games just like you, homie. I'm watching it like you. What makes you more qualified than me to do this? You got hired. I didn't try, actually. But I love this game of basketball. So I've been watching and studying this since I was a little kid, when my father was explaining it to me. Now I'm explaining it to other people. You know, and I just hate stupidity. Anyway, that went longer than I thought. All right. Whoosha. Came out the gate swinging. Sometimes you got to do that. All right. So, because my thing is, you don't come for my boy Cantor. You don't come for him. He is a Knick if I've ever seen one. That doesn't mean he won't get traded in a week or two. Hey, he's a Knick today. If he's not a Knick, fuck him tomorrow. Straight up. Hey. But as long as he's here, I really like this guy. Because it's more than what he does on the court. You can see, honestly, yeah, Kristaps is supposed to be the franchise, but honestly, and Jared Jack and Jared Jack is a captain. I think one of the captains. Courtney Lee is one of the captains. Kyle O'Quinn, just the older guys, which is cool. But the truth is, let's be real. The emotional leader on that team is Enes Kanter. He is. He is. So kudos to you, Enes Kanter. 2018. I hope you can continue on playing as well as you have been playing, being a good teammate, and things like that. Now I want to get into, I was going to do a Christmas podcast. I got so busy. It was crazy. It's crazy when you think, I just didn't have the time. What I was going to do with the Christmas podcast is I was going to say things I wish for. But now I can't do that. So now I got to change it to the New Year's type thing. Resolutions or things like that. Now I'm this one here I didn't plan. It just popped in my head now. So, well, first of all, let me just look at the Knicks. I'm gonna grade just a few of the Knicks, not all the Knicks, because all the Knicks don't play. I'm not grading people who don't play. I won't even waste my time. I'll just let you know if I don't mention them, their grade is incomplete. All right, so that's it. Period. Let's start with the coach. 18-18. Nobody was expecting it. And he's still running remnants of the triangle, by the way. He is. And I'm speaking of Jeff Hornacek. The grade I would like to give Jeff Hornacek for this early season, it can't be anything short. I would say an A. I have to say an A. Not A+, not A-, just A. Just a straight A. That's what he gets. He gets an A. And people might say, why he gets an A? The team is only 18-18. Yes, because people thought this team was going to be in the gutter. They thought this team was going to be a 20-win team. They're already at 18. I think Vegas had us at 23 wins or some shit. They're already at 18 wins. Not only that, the fact that Jeff Hornacek is coaching up these boys. Yeah, in games, in certain games, he's had bad coaching games. That happens. Sometimes you make a decision, it doesn't work for you. However, I think he's been nothing short of magnificent as a coach this season. It's all in the results. It's all in the results. You got to judge a coach on how hard your team plays. Remember what I said before the season started. On how hard your team plays, how hard they're willing to play for you, basically. Adjustments, halftime adjustments. I've seen the Knicks come out and do well after that. And after tough losses, what happens to your team the next game? That's all coaching. And yes, we've had some back-to-back bad losses. Yes. But we've had a good number of bounce-back victories. Shoot, after halftime, we came out and blew the doors off Toronto, and Toronto's the number 1 seed. Have you looked in the standings? I don't know if they flip-flopped with Boston recently, but last time I checked, they was number 1 seed. And Toronto's a very good team. You know, there's been some impressive wins. And also, how is he coaching up the players? Hernangomez, he still should be a part of our future. But guess what, young man? You got to sit your ass on the bench. And I got to respect that. You don't just get a place on this court if you're not playing right. You just don't, just because of you just don't get that. No, you have to be coached up. And you know what I noticed? A lot of players, you have a lot of young players who are high picks that get coached up like this. And some of them end up out the league because they just don't adjust to being coached. You know, because a lot of times, a lot of these young players are not. See, the thing is, what shows me about Billy Hernangomez, he's been coached in Spain. A lot of these other players come from AAUs and they don't really get coached up. And when I say coached up, I mean like man shit. I'm talking about like if you are messing up, you sitting your ass right next to the coach and I'm talking to you. Even though you don't want to hear that shit, I'm talking to you. And you're going to listen to me and then you're going to take your ass to the end of the bench. That's how it goes. You see, that happens in Spain because Spain is no joke as a league. That doesn't happen on the AAU circuit. It does happen in coaching or in college ranks, but they're only there for a year, most kids. So I got to give him props for coaching up Billy Hernangomez. I got to give him props because that was an unpopular move. Everybody was hating him for putting Kyle O'Quinn in there. But I got to give him props for doing that. You have to. There's other things he's done in the game. There was one game he let the Knicks, the young guy, finish the game. You know, the way he's letting Ntilikina finish the games, and he's slowly, listen, look how he's developing Ntilikina. Are we paying attention? Look how he's developing him. He was getting a little bit of minutes. It's increasing slowly because he knows that Jarrett Jack, he's an injury away. I mean, he's 35, 36. We can't expect him to be there for 82. We're going to need Ntilikina to have the bulk of these minutes eventually, soon, very soon. And he's going to have to show, and he needs to be more aggressive. And slowly but surely, he's getting more aggressive, but also he's getting the confidence shown in him by Hornacek. He's guiding him, and that's great coaching. So that's Jeff Hornacek. We're already 18 minutes in. Yeah, this is going to be a little longer podcast than I normally do, but I want to get all of this in here. See if I can speed it up just a little. All right. Kristaps Porzingis, his grade is a D. No, I'm sorry. His grade is an F. Fuck out of here. Nah, I'm just playing. Kristaps Porzingis, it has to be an A. Your team is so-called overachieving, and you're the reason why. It's simple as that. It really doesn't have to be much more than that. He has arrived. He's the franchise. He's showing and proving that he's the franchise. He said exactly what I said about double teams. This is what I'm trying to tell you. You come to Knicks home court, you're going to get the real, you're going to get intelligent talk. And the reason why I had to say that is because he even said himself, when it comes to the double teams, he's getting used to it, where it's coming from, when it's going to come, when he puts the ball on the floor, things like that. He's learning that. And once he adjusts to that, because there's only but so many things they could do. They can double team him when he dribbles the ball. They could double team him on the catch. They could double team him when he puts the ball down low. They could, when he backs down. After that, there's not many options. He's going to figure out each option. Okay, When I put it on the floor, here they come with the double team. Maybe I should turn away from the double team. Blah, blah, blah. Whatever it is. He's working on that now. I'm going to tell you what. I don't expect him to fully have that done by this season, but next year he's going to be ready for those double teams. He's going to be practicing against double teams next year because Kristaps is one of those kids who wants to be great. I believe that. So he gets an A. There's no doubt about that. I would give him an A+, but he got a little hurt head. He's had his little moments. He had his little mellow moments, so I'm going to give him an A. I'm going to stay at A. It would have been an A+. Anyway, let me move on. Next guy. And this is random. This is not in any order. Whoever pops in my head, and just now Ron Baker just popped in my head. So let's say Ron Baker, his grade is a C. I'm not going to say much about it. His grade would be higher. The more he plays, the higher his grade is going to be because he's a tough, scrappy kid. But right now he gets a C because he just started playing. So there's not much to say about that. Let's move on. Frank Ntilikina. See now, in grading Frank Ntilikina, this may have to have some perspective with it. And a lot of people, like I said, when I look at the NBA, when I look at the games, and when I think about the games, it's two different things. When I'm looking at the game, I'm just watching the game. But when I'm thinking about the entire game, I think of the human element and perspective. I have to think of those things because those things affect. If you look at any gambling movie or anything about, well, I think it was gambling movies when they talk about, and I've heard gamblers speak on this, they want to get as much information as possible when they're trying to predict games. I'm talking about the ones who do this for a living. So they want to know, and I think it was in a movie. The guy was like, I want to know if he had an argument with his girlfriend the other day. I want to know if he had some bad food, if he was hanging out late. All of that stuff, believe it or not, affects them on the court. These guys are not machines. So the reason why I went through all of that is because I'm going to give Frank Ntilikina a B grade. And he's getting a B grade because some people might say C or anything like that. I'm not just basing this on the play. Like I said, I'm basing this on overall everything. He's a 19-year-old boy from France who's here in America in the biggest city in the world, or biggest city in this country, the most populated city, as a point guard, that position. And he's had some very, very good moments, and he had some rookie moments, but I'm giving him a B. Next year, I won't give him credit. I won't give him credit next year for being here. You know, he won't get credit for being 19. He can only be 19 once. He can only adjust to his surroundings once. Next year, my rating will be completely different. It will have nothing to do with his surroundings, but I have to take that in the context when you're talking about somebody who's 19 and not in their own country, not with their family on a regular basis, their friends. Everything is different. So I just got to give him props for that, just to be able to deal with that. You know, because some of y'all go away to college and y'all calling y'all parents that first night, and y'all in the same country. Sometimes y'all in the same damn city, just happen to not be in your same bed. He's in another whole country, another whole continent. All right, so that's why. And like I said, his defense is good. He's hit some clutch shots. He's not afraid to take the shot, and that's important. That says something about him. Enes Kanter. Well, I did a whole thing in the beginning about Enes Kanter, so I'm going to shorten this one about Enes Kanter. I give him an A as well. Now, some people say, if I give all the Knicks A's, how come they only 18 and 18? No. So I'm giving these guys A's based on expectations that I had. You know, I mean, this is not NBA awards or anything like that. This is just me judging the Knicks. Kanter, I give an A. His effort has been A. His effort has been nothing but stellar. He's been a joy to be here. He's bringing back that Knick pride. Don't get me wrong. I believe Kristaps and all the other guys have it, but they don't have it. They don't embody it like Kanter does. And that's what I love about this guy. Besides being a tough guy, he embodies the spirit of what it is to be a teammate, what it is to go to battle with your teammates. He embodies that, and I appreciate that. So he could say, Lance Thomas. Ooh, this is tough. I'm going to be a little hard on Lance Thomas. I'm gonna give him a C plus. And why I'm giving him a C plus, because all right, I got to give props to Lance Thomas. He was almost out the league, but he got traded to the Knicks, and the triangle offense really was perfect for him because he's a really good mid-range jump shooter. You don't see that now because the Knicks don't do those plays with him, but he's a very good mid-range jump shooter. And before he got hurt, when the Knicks signed him, he was coming off a great season. He was coming off a good season for him. So then last year he was hurt most of the year. And then this year he's been relatively healthy, getting more healthy. Now he's playing every day. And the reason why he only gets a C plus is because his offense went from serviceable to just like downright like he's a minus. He's becoming the guy from Oklahoma City, Robinson, who was an elite defender, and he's the opposite as an offensive player. He's a minus on the offense. You know what I'm saying? It's just crazy. And that's, to me, it feels like Lance Thomas is becoming that on offense. Like he's becoming a complete zero on offense. So bad on offense that you can't keep him on the court. I mean, that's crazy when you can't keep somebody on the court because of offense. That's how bad he's been sometimes. So I just wanted to put that out there. But I think he plays tough D, and he's good for the team. Again, another thing that's again, like I said, yeah, on the court, offensively, he's terrible. Defensively, he's very good. In the locker room, that gives him his highest. That helps everything because that's one of his strengths. He's a professional. You need professionals around these young professionals. So I'm sorry, Lance, but if you hit a few more threes, you're ready to go up to a B. But you're just a minus on offense sometimes. It's just crazy. All right, Kylo Quinn. That's another A. God, I'm handing out some A's, right? A lot of A's. Come on, man. Kylo Quinn is self-explanatory. Only thing I'll just tell you is I want y'all to look at this and think of this podcast and laugh when you see it. Anytime Kylo Quinn tries to put the ball on the floor or make any kind of move around a hoop, it's going to end badly. I've been keeping a tally, like not actually a tally, but I've been just watching it. Like, and if he does a little fake and shoots the jump shot, that's fine. I'm going to tell you, Kylo Quinn has a nice jump shot around the key, around the free throw line. He's really good at that. But he needs to shoot it. Like when he gets the ball, he needs to go into his motion. If he fakes, he still can hit it. But if he tries to do any kind of dribble move or anything like that to the hoop, it is hilarious. It's always going to either be punched, stolen, he's going to throw it away. That's just Kylo Quinn for you. But he gets an A because basically he's done exactly what we needed him to do. Sometimes he's better than Cantor on some nights. Not many, but some nights. He's a hell of a rebounder, a hell of a shot blocker. He's a hell of a defender. And every now and then he comes up and he does his thing. He every now and then he comes in and scores like 15 to 16 points, 18 points, things like that. Yep. All right. Michael F. Beasley. I don't know if it's F. Beasley. I just like saying that, like, you know. Let's talk about Michael Beasley. What's his grade? Wow. Let me tell you, this guy, Michael Beasley, went from an F to a B. I mean, I was saying I didn't want to see him on the court because he was getting the ball and he was being basically a black hole. But what the Knicks have done in their offense, they've created a black hole. They've created that situation for Beasley and for Kristaps. So, you know, now what they'll do is just run a play for him or let him get the ball in the high post. And he's been doing his thing. So I can't knock it. What could I say? So, you know, he went from an F to a B. I wanted him off the team. I was like, we don't need him. But now he's filling in his role really well. Now I'm seeing his role is going to be that of a scorer off the bench when Kristaps is not there. Now, we don't know what's going to happen when Hardaway comes back. He might get buried again, or that might make us that much stronger. We will see. He's been rebounding. He's been also defending and passing the ball a lot more than he used to. So I got to give him props for that. You can't, you know what I'm saying? So he gets a B. He gets a B grade. I know I'm going to forget somebody. How could I, right? I'm such a Knicks fan. How am I going to forget somebody? By the way, I hope everybody's staying warm, and those crazy ass people that's down there watching the ball drop, y'all ain't from New York. We all know y'all not from here. Anyway. Did I leave somebody off? Did I leave somebody off? What about Dougie McDermott? Doug McDermott. Oh, man, he's a tough guy to grade because his grade went from an A. He's doing the opposite of Beasley. His grade went from an A. It's not dropping down to an F. But I would say he's about a B- right now. He's trending down, but that's all right. That's all right. He's a B-. He's a guy if the money's right, I want to keep him. Actually, speaking of cancer, if the money's right, I would like to keep him too. See, I'm singing his praises, but if we can get Billy to be just as good as Cantor is, then Cantor's fucking out of here because they're not going to pay him all that money. They're just not going to pay him $18 million a year. I don't know. Maybe they will, but I don't think so. So anyway, that's that, right? But yeah, Dougie McBuckets. I mean, first of all, he's always said he's not a 3-point shooter. That's not his game. He can shoot threes, but he likes to play the whole game. As you've seen, he's dunked the ball. Only thing I think his biggest problem is his handle. He really doesn't display any handle. Because he has nice moves going to the hoop. He got some hops. He got a good jump shot off the dribble, but he can't create with his dribble, and that's a problem. But recently he's been stinking up the joint, so that has made his grade go down. But I think he's gonna hover around a B throughout the season. I think that's where he's gonna be. That's where his natural place to be, and things like that. Place a B, right? Jarrett Jack is gonna get the highest grade. He gets an A+. Come on, man. Anytime you take somebody off the scrap heap, like Terminator, you just took him off the scrap heap and put him in there, and he got better and better and better and stabilized, literally saved the season if you think about it. I mean, I know that's a little hyperbole and it's exaggerated. However, he kind of saved the season. The Knicks were 0-3. They didn't win a game in preseason. Ramon Sessions looked like a hot garbage, and Jarrett came in there and settled things down. And the Knicks have played well ever since. He gets an A+. And see, again, look at his numbers. I guarantee you some analytic guy can say, well, technically, when he's on the court, he really doesn't make the Knicks that much better. It's just blah, 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 blah. Look, see, this is where the analytics fail. When you have somebody on the court like him, a veteran, a steady hand, maybe it makes everybody else play a little more better, more relaxed, and not nervous, not unsure. Just like when you have a rookie in the game and the rookie starts making mistakes, other players start getting antsy. They start wondering like, oh, man, I think we need to take this dude out, put Jarrett back in there. Then when Jarrett comes back in the game, there's a calm, and every Knicks fan can see it. There's a calm. Now, this times he's in the game and it's long and it's going long, and you're like, you know what? We need to bring Ntilikina in. We need a little switch. That's good. It has not reached a point yet where you could say Ntilikina needs to start. And that's because Jarrett Jack just last night went off again, balling his ass off. He gets an A+ in my book. He gets an A+. And again, kudos to Hornacek for seeing that and putting him in there. But he gets an A+ in my book because he's been a steadying influence this entire season, except for the first 3 games. And he was signed up the scrap heap. Sometimes you catch lightning in the bottle, like I said, lightning in the bottle. Same thing with Michael Beasley. Off the scrap heap, and he's looking like he could be a serviceable player. That maybe he's turned a corner in his life. Seriously, personally. Because basketball has never been his issue. So, that's good too. All right. Who's next? I got to think of the starting 5. Courtney Lee. Courtney Lee. Man, so if I give everybody an A, shouldn't our record be better than this if I give every player an A? It's tough. It's tough. But Courtney Lee, he's an A. Almost an A+. He's had a great season, especially since Hardaway has been injured. I mean, Courtney Lee's doing it all. He's defending. He's looking like one of the leaders on the team, on offense and on defense, making big plays. Oh, it's great to have a veteran on the team like that does things the right way again to teach the youngsters. So he gets an A easily. Let's talk about Tim Hardaway Jr. Tim Hardaway Jr., it's so funny. He started as an F. He worked his way up to a B. Then he got to an A. Then he climbed the ceiling to an A+. And then he got hurt. So I'm going to bring him down because of that. I mean, I know they can't control injuries, but it's just a part of the game. I hear that. So I put him at a B+. I think he's an A once he comes back, though. But I put him at a B+ at this moment. But he has played well this season. He looked like he's going to be. You got to understand what I really like about this whole thing that the Knicks are doing is that Kristaps, Ntilikina, and Hardaway are going to be here. That's part of the nucleus. Now, a lot of people look at that. Well, Kristaps is a superstar. We don't know what Ntilikina is going to be. And Hardaway he's good. He's okay. I understand that. Oh, that's not enough to win a championship. I understand that. What you're trying to do is you're trying to build your team up. You surround them with really good players. And then once your team is constantly making the playoffs and you got that franchise guy, Kristaps, in a couple of years, you might be able to sign somebody big. Trust me, there's players out there that want to play with Kristaps because he's different. Just had to he's different. Now, am I missing anybody? Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Sound like I've been drinking today, right? No, I ain't even get my drink on yet. I want everybody to be safe. The Knicks play on the 2nd, so you got to be able to be sober to see that game. You don't want to be passing out. Want everybody to have a happy new year, and I hope everything comes true for y'all, whatever that you want to happen and things like that. But let me continue with the Knicks. All right, I'm at the point of honorable mentions. Damian Dotson, I think you have a bright future. I think that he is a mainstay on the Knicks. His time shall come. I believe so. I think he with that shooting ability, that'll keep you in the league. And with his physical, he's a good size guard. He should be all right. And let's end this on Joakim Noah. His grade, come on, man. It's A+. He's the number one cheerleader in the game. Nah, I'm just playing. I have no grade for Noah. I'm not mad at him. Actually, I want to know how can I do that. You know what I mean? Like, he got it so good. I think the NBA need to do something about that. I think the NBA needs to figure out a way for these rich organizations to pay the player the money and get that money back. Like, I don't understand. Like, I understand you need to have a good front office and stuff. But when you have a player who cannot play anymore, like, you got to, what they do to give you a medical exception is you got to go to the doctor. And you got to understand, the doctor's not going to say, oh, he can't play like how he used to play. No, they're going to say he still can play basketball, so you're still under that contract. But big shout out for Noah. Noah yesterday, he played well. He played hard like he always does. So it was a welcome addition seeing him out there. And you know what? That's an inspiration for the younger players. That's the best way I could put it. You know, I mean, if let me tell you, if there's one thing that that Phil Jackson, I got to knock him down for, is that Joakim Noah signing was probably one of the worst signings. It's going to go down as one of the worst signings in history. It's just like I think Phil Jackson's drafting was amazing, but I think his signing was left a lot to be desired. Anyway, my Knicks resolutions for this year coming up. Let me see if I can speak like Saint Nick or just Nick. My New Year's resolution as Mr. Nick is I won't do what I done in all the other years and lose 15 out of the next 20 games or 30 out of the next 35 games and end up at the bottom of the barrel, at the bottom of the division and conference. I will not do that. I'm resolved to keep winning and stay at 500 or go above 500. That is Mr. Nick's resolution. I promise not to. People always break resolutions, right? They probably gonna break. But no, seriously, on a serious note, I just don't want to see the Knicks go into a tailspin. That gets very difficult. They're going to lose games that they shouldn't lose. They're going to win games that they shouldn't win. They beat Boston. They beat Oklahoma City. You know what I'm saying? They lost to the Hawks. They lost to Chicago. They beat Toronto. That's just how teams do until they find their identity. And once they find their identity, they should never lose to the worst teams. You can lose to the better teams, but never. One thing I liked about the Knicks in the 90s, they never lost to bad teams. They lost to good ones, but they never lost a bad team. It was like a rule. Keep your foot on their neck. Keep your foot on their throat. Never lose to them, ever. Keep the little brother in his spot, in his space. Yeah, the Bulls might be able to beat the Knicks, but y'all can't beat them. And that's how it always was. Indiana, get under our shoe. Yeah, y'all might beat us a couple of times. We got this. Get under our shoe. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, I wish everybody a happy new year. Hope everybody's staying warm. Be very careful with the space heaters if you're cold in your place and things like that. The Knicks have a game coming up Tuesday. Let's hope that's a win. And again, I want to wish everybody a happy and safe new year. Knicks Home Court. My name is Greg Armstrong, episode 85, and I'm out. Peace.